A battle pass is just a mass subscription. Holy crap. Arenanet and Guild Wars 3 just completely put all of the other MMOs on blast, and they're absolutely right. So if you've been keeping up with a lot of the news for Guild Wars 3 and some of the interviews that either you've seen on IGN, Arenanet's put out a handful of videos. They actually just released one today talking about the design choice of going back to ore for Guild Wars 3, going back into the past for the third installment of the series. And with all that information rolling around, it's great, but it still does not shake the single statement that just completely put the entire MMORPG genre on blast, which is a battle pass is just a masked subscription designed to keep players hostage. And we don't want to do that. I think the exact quote was like, we don't want to keep our players hostage, but you get the point. So let's talk about it, and let's talk about why that's right, especially from a dad's point of view. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more dad content, caffeinated dad content. Coffee. So one of the biggest problems that I've always had with subscriptions, especially as I've gotten older, as I've had limited and less time to play video games, is that the subscription cost is essentially a sunk cost fallacy to me. When I pay for a game and I'm paying monthly, I almost feel like it's intrinsically tied. I have to do that. The same rules apply here for an MMO. If I'm paying monthly for an MMO, why am I not playing that MMO? It's that kind of mentality that is almost like it's forcing me into a game that I don't necessarily want to. And subscriptions and battle passes, honestly, in that regard, really kind of feel punishing for those who may or may not have a whole heck of a lot of time to sit down and play video games. Now, I'm not saying that it is impossible. Of course, you can focus all of your time. If you really like the game, then you can really hammer out a lot of stuff if there was a battle pass. Or if you really enjoy playing, say for example, like World of Warcraft, and you don't mind paying the subscription and that's the only game you play, that's great. There are far more parents and far more busy working adults who like to try a bunch of different games and see what's out there, and not have to feel like I am tying my entire game time and all of my free time and feeling the need to be stuck in that one game. And with Guild Wars 3 coming out with the announcement of no battle passes and then no subscription, of course, no subscription goes along with all the other Guild Wars 2, with all the other Guild Wars games. And then of course, the no battle pass is just a mass subscription. That is such a breath of fresh air in the MMORPG genre. Now, again, let's kind of look at where the subscription and that money will go. Is like, if you're paying for the money, you arbitrarily expect more content, faster levels of content, certain perks, other aspects that just go along with the game, which of course that does make sense. However, Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars Reforged, even before that, have always ended up targeting those aspects that other MMOs aren't. And one of the biggest things is there's no subscription. Are you meaning to tell me that an MMORPG has been able to hang around for, I don't know, 20 years for Guild Wars Reforged, and then what's it like, 14, 15 years for Guild Wars 2 without having to charge people to play their game monthly? Like, I mean, if you think about it, it is such a like kind of archaic thought in that regard as far as other games. Now, of course, to be fair, Guild Wars 2 has their gem shop. Without a doubt, without a shiver of a doubt, I know that there will be some type of in-game store for microtransactions on Guild Wars 3. Something of that like. However, it is optional. You don't need those to play the game. You don't need those to enjoy the game for what it is. And now, again, yes, there's probably, if I'm to be 100% honest and transparent, there's probably going to be some level of convenience included in that shop, if I know Arenanet and I know how Guild Wars 2 has gone. But the choice always ends up being on for me. It is my choice if I want to pay for the convenience or pay for the cosmetics. That is a choice that I have to make. I don't feel intrinsically dedicated to the game because I have to pay to play it after I've already purchased it. But of course, to elaborate further on that, it does open up the option that they could embargo like 95% of the inventory issue that we have in Guild Wars 2. Like, if you haven't played Guild Wars 2 or you're just getting into it, you know there is a crap load of loot and your inventory spaces fill up incredibly quickly. With not only other gear choices, you have drops, you have other items, it fills in very quickly, and it's actually kind of a pain. You can purchase more inventory space, you can purchase more bank space through the in-game cash shop, through the gem shop, and I don't know necessarily, I can't sit here and say for certain that it isn't going to be the exact same in Guild Wars 3. I know no more than you do. But that also, therein lies the question, is that for Guild Wars 2, for the longest time, I enjoyed playing the game and I had a great time without the need of all those aspects, without the need of a larger inventory space, without the need of a larger bank space. I didn't need to do those to enjoy the game. And I do think that that philosophy will carry through with Guild Wars 3. However, you have to understand, and until we know more, let me put it this way, Colin's promise of like no subscription, no battle pass and stuff like that, it sounds really good, and I do believe them 100%. Let's see how the rest of the convenience factors move forward, and then we'll see where we stand. Now, I talk about it like a subscription and how much money you're paying for the game, not only to play it and but other MMOs of purchasing the expansions and then paying for the expansions to continue to play them for the subscription models and things like that. World of Warcraft, in my mind, is probably the most dirtiest, which it makes sense. They have the subscription, you got to buy the game, and then they have like, it's like Heartsteel or Hearthsteel or something like that, which is like a triple dip in my regard. Like that to me is just like, that's over monetization in its highest fashion. Then you have Final Fantasy XIV, which is a little bit better because you pay for the monthly subscription, and then you do have to purchase the expansion. I think you have to purchase it up to whatever the most recent is. If you have a subscription, you can play through the entire game up until the most current expansion, which is a lot more fair. They're planning on adding for their free trial, like the majority of the game. Like we're talking from A Realm Reborn, which is where you start, all the way up until I think it's now to Shadowbringers, which is the third previous expansion, which is honestly ridiculous. The free trial for Final Fantasy XIV is, I will always be a big proponent of it. Does phenomenal. ESO's a little bit on the same regard, closer to that of Guild Wars 2. I mean, it's buy to play, and then you can play it as often as you want. There is an optional subscription that you can get that offers, we'll say, easier or ways for convenience, ways for cosmetics, from what I understand. And then you do have to buy any of the new DLC that comes out, which again, that kind of falls into line with like Guild Wars 2. Like Guild Wars 2, you still have to buy the DLCs. It's free to play for the most part up until, I believe, level 80. If you want to play any of the expansions, you have to purchase them, and then from there, your account gets upgraded. But then you also do have to purchase the Living World Seasons, which are the intermingling stories between the major expansions. And then, of course, we have the convenience factor. So it's not like I can sit here and say that Guild Wars 2 is, of course, is like perfect, obviously, in this comparison. Guild Wars 3, right now, all we know is that there's no sub and there's no battle passes. That is all we know. Now, if they continue on the train of Guild Wars 2, then there's probably going to be an in-gem store or a microtransaction store. There's going to be buy for convenience items throughout there. But then again, I also look at it for an MMO to be able to say as, we'll say, robust and as actionable as Guild Wars 2 has been over the past 20, like, damn, it feels like it's been 20 years, but nearly 14 years, 15 years. I mean, it's not that bad. If you, instead of buying, we'll say, a $15 per month sub, if you chuck a $20 bill here every now and then, you can unlock the bag spots. I mean, it's pros and cons, let me put it that way. So there's kind of like two questions that I really think Arenanet is going to need to answer for Guild Wars 3. And hopefully we'll know more as time goes on. But one of the big ones right there from the gate is they're going to be a paywall behind convenience. Is the quality of life features all going to be held hostage with the in-game gem store? Again, if I'm going off of previous experience, I would say, yeah, maybe there's a good chance for it. And it's kind of hard to tell that to other players or players who are just stepping into Guild Wars 2, into the Guild Wars franchise, because then it's like, it's less of like, like a cosmetic feature. It's a tax. It's kind of like a tax to enjoy the game more, but that you have to pay. So I don't know necessarily if that's always the right way, but it's not horrible as compared to being forced to pay something. And the second, and I think that they're going down this way, but will there be options like how they do for Guild Wars 2 for you to play to earn certain aspects of the game? So one of the features that I haven't talked about yet into this video is that you can actually earn gold in Guild Wars 2 and then use it to buy gems, and then use the gems inside the game to purchase the aspects. So like bag space, we'll say bank storage, larger bank storage aspects. I mean, there's ways that you can earn money in game and then use it to purchase other aspects for quality of life. I do think that that will continue on into Guild Wars 3. I don't see why they wouldn't. However, I do kind of have the idea, and something that I'm seeing them do, they've done recently with the Visions of Eternity expansion, which is how you can earn some of the, we'll say, cosmetics, or like one of these fancier items during the gameplay of the game. Like, you can go out in the latest Visions of Eternity, the only way, the expansion update, they have a skin, a raptor skin, that you can earn just by playing the game. It's a rare drop, which I'm much more amenable to that. That was one of the aspects I really did like when I played World of Warcraft. And it's something that I would like to see. Like, is there a way, a simpler way for us to earn gem store currency in-game? We'll see what happens. I'm more amenable to those types of things where it's like I do have the option of just spending my in-game currency to purchase the quality of life items. And that, again, probably is going to be a little bit arduous. You got to spend a lot of time. So it's probably not going to be better suited for those who have limited time. But for those who do want to spend quite a bit of time in the Land of Ore, where we're going to be for Guild Wars 3, I think that's a reasonable option. So overall, I think that the thought of no battle pass and no subscription, it carries along exactly with what I would expect from Arenanet and the Guild Wars franchise. I mean, we saw the same with Guild Wars Reforged, and we saw the same with Guild Wars 2. Now, I'm curious of some of the other aspects in this regard, of maybe there being quality of life features that are hidden behind a paywall, or a cost behind a paywall. And that could turn away some players. However, if they include other options, like being able to earn currency in-game to purchase the quality of life items, I think that that's very reasonable for an MMORPG in 2026. And I just love that they openly came out and said, we don't want to hold our players hostage with the subscriptions or the battle pass. And the battle pass being masked, 100%, I do believe it. It's like, oh, well, let me join the battle pass. There you go. Now I'm spending money on a game to pay for cosmetics and stuff like that. It's just the newer evolution, you know? So I love what they're doing, and I love that they basically put the whole industry on blast, and good for them. Hopefully we'll have more information, but yeah, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so I'll keep you all up to date. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.